Hey Archery Talk, this is Lucas, and today I've got my review of the Prime Divide 33. The Divide series is Prime's, next level take on the Forum that was introduced last year. I really enjoyed shooting the Forum last year. It was a 34-inch axle-to-axle bow. The Divide is available in multiple axle-to-axle lengths. They've got a 31, a 33, a 35, and a 37-inch axle-to-axle variant. So that'll take you everything from if you want a super compact axle-to-axle length bow, or if you want something longer for, target or 3D archery, the 37 or 35 will be pretty great options for that. I kind of went more in the middle with the 33. And each of those options is also available with a 6-inch or a 7-inch brace set. So that gives you 8 different kind of variations on this bow to choose from. So I have chosen the 33 with the 6-inch. With that setup, this bow has a rated speed of 339 feet per second. I've got this one with the draw length set to 30 inches. I've got 70-pound limbs, so I'm 30-70 right now. I've tried to get this as close to IBO spec as I can when I'm doing the speed tests. More on that in a little while. Lots of fun news there. And beyond that, there are some small changes to the bow itself. The carbon tubes, which are kind of bonded into the riser, which Prime released last year with the Form, they've got some different dampening material in there this year to help reduce noise and vibration. Not that I thought that was a problem last year at all. The string stop material is also a little bit different this year, which I'm assuming as well is going to help reduce some noise and vibration. But I found this bow relatively quiet last year, and I'm finding the same thing this year. The bow is an absolute shooter. I love this axle-to-axle length. This bow holds on target super well, and I'm not really using a stabilizer so far this year. I'm mostly shooting at 20 or 30 yards for the most part, so I don't, it's at that distance. I find them plenty accurate without a stabilizer in there. If I'm shooting this for 3D or for target archery, I'm definitely going to want to stab out there with a little bit of weight on the front just to kind of help steady the ship a little bit. But this bow, as it is, shoots really well. I don't normally love shooting super light bows. I tend to find that they just need a little bit of weight out front with a stabilizer. I've just not really been bothered by that this year. I don't know why, but I'm absolutely liking how it feels. I would love to take this in the woods as a hunting bow when if you've got to pack and do a lot of walking, because it's so light and easy to carry without having to worry about a stabilizer on it. If I'm a Western hunter and I've got to take longer shots, maybe then I still want to have a stabilizer on there just to make sure I'm a little more, accurate for a 40 or 50 or 60 yard shot if I'm hunting elk. But where I am in Ontario, it's mostly close quarters hunting inside, 20 or 30 yards out of a tree stand. So this is plenty accurate package for me set up as it is. And yeah, it's a fantastic feeling bow. The Form last year was one of my favorite bows to draw as well. It's a easy, smooth feeling draw cycle. Last year, this bow, the Form rather, came a little bit quite a bit light on its advertised speed. This year, we're going to kind of talk about what might be different about that. Prime did send me 2 sets of mods for this bow. It came with the standard mods, and it also came with the performance mods. The performance mods are intended to give you another 7 to 8 feet per second and get you kind of closer to the advertised speed. I found the Form last year was quite low. I think maybe like 18, 20 feet, kind of shy of its advertised speed. And this year, it was different, which was a big surprise to me. We're going to get that in a little while. First, let's talk draw cycle. Let's go deep into that. And the other night when I was here shooting this bow, I went over the draw cycle with both the standard and the performance mods on there, back and forth. So 2 different segments on draw cycle. Let's cut to that right now, and we'll come back here and talk about speed. So let's talk draw cycle on the Prime Divide 33.6, and again, in the standard mods. I've not put the performance mods on this bow yet. We'll get to that in a little while, but I just wanted to run you through how this bow draws, and it is pretty much exactly what I was looking for in a hunting bow. You could convince me that this was a 60-pound bow or a 65-pound bow. I was stunned. When I first drew this back, I had to break out my scale multiple times just to verify that it was actually a 70-pound bow. And it is very much that. The bow feels just ridiculously light. I don't know that it's the perfectly smoothest draw I've ever had, but it's pretty close. There's no, it doesn't really feel like you're getting over some kind of a hump to get into the valley. It's a very smooth draw overall. I don't know. I would have never imagined that this was a 70-pound bow if I had not tested it for myself. And it holds on target really well. I have no stabilizer on this bow at this point. I've been playing around with it off and on, but for this purposes, we'll go without. It holds on target really well. I've been shooting it exceptionally well for the last couple of days I've been playing with this thing. And it's pretty quiet after the shot, as you can see. That's, as far as draw cycle goes, this thing is an absolute winner. It makes me a bit skeptical of what the speeds are going to be. I mean, last couple of years, the primes have come in pretty slow for me. I mean, you know, sometimes even pushing 20 feet per second slow. Now I do have the performance mods, which are supposed to add some more. So I don't know what to say the number is going to be. Again, the rated speed with this bow with the performance mods is 339. Those are supposed to give you, I think, 7 to 8. So that would make the standard mods in there, let's say 332, something like that, 331. But again, that seems super optimistic to me this year. I've shot some 330 IBO bows this year that felt much different than this one, but who knows? The proof will be in the pudding once we run it through the chronograph. But overall, just a draw cycle to die for. Oh my goodness. So I have the performance mods installed on the bow, and as you might expect, the draw cycle is definitely a little bit different, but maybe not quite as much as I was expecting for something that's supposed to give you an extra 7 or 8 feet a second, which is a significant gain. The big difference for me is in the second half of the draw right there. It's still no big hump really into the valley, but it's definitely stiffer. But what I appreciate is it's not ultra jumpy when I'm at the wall. I often find that bows that are touting extra speed do not feel great at full draw. They really want to jump. I'm not getting that here. It's still nice and comfortable to hold. It's still fairly quiet on the shot. It holds on target well. Overall, I don't think it's a big compromise to get that extra speed if you need it. I would still probably choose the standard mods personally. But again, if you've got a shorter draw length and you need a bit of extra juice, these are still pretty reasonable. The standard mods are so light that, you know, like there was going to be room to get more speed without making the draw too bad. And that's what they've done here. And again, it's a bit stiffer, but not a big hump or anything like that, just a stiffer draw, which is reasonable for the extra speed. And I just like here, I'll let it down too. Let down is still not too bad. You have to pay attention, of course, as anytime you've got a bow with, you know, a decent amount of valley. There's a little bit less valley, I would say, than when you with the standard mods, but it doesn't feel massively different. As I said, if you need that extra speed, I think this is a very good compromise. Not for me personally, just because, you know, I have a 30-inch draw. I don't need that extra speed, but a lot of folks want it, and I could see it as this is, you know, I think worth your while if you're really trying to chase a couple extra feet a second. I am very much looking forward to running this through the chronograph to compare how the standard mods do. We'll get to that in just a little bit, but I'm excited to see overall what the speeds produce on this bow. Yeah, let's get to that right now. So in that first part of the draw cycle video, when I was talking about the standard mods on here, not the performance mods, I was pretty skeptical about speed. You know, in the last couple of years, Prime has given me reason to be a little skeptical about speed. But I'm here to offer my mea culpa. I was wrong. The speed on this bow was shocking. It doesn't make any sense to me, to be honest with you. So I shot this bow, again, set up at 70 pounds of weight, 30 inches of draw with a 350 grain arrow and a 455 grain arrow to kind of give you an idea between, you know, just the speed arrow, which I use for tests, or the arrow I would use for hunting. With that 350 grain arrow, I saw speeds with the standard mods on here of 330 and 329 feet per second. There's no way this bow set up like that feels like I should be getting speeds like that. I was stunned. I was honestly thinking it was going to be, you know, 318, 320 maybe. I was not expecting 330. I was absolutely blown away by that. And with the heavier arrow, I was still getting speeds of 291 feet per second. That's all with the standard mods. Those are great speeds for me. When I put on the performance mods, Prime said I would get about 7 to 8 feet more per second, and they were absolutely right. With that performance mod and the 350 grain arrow, I got speeds of 338 and 337 feet per second. This bow is advertised at 339. That is basically nailed its rated speed again. And I get lots of complaints with people about speed tests because I test everything with a peep and with a D-loop on it because, you know, that's how I shoot a bow. And I've had multiple bows hit their marks And no one ever says anything when those bows hit their marks. They say lots of stuff when the bows come short, like, oh, that peeps 4 feet a second, the D-loop's adding 3 or 4 feet a second. No, it's not. These bows are hitting their marks with all of that on there, and in a bow that absolutely feels like it should not hit that mark. For me, this is the best draw cycle to speed kind of formula I've ever shot. In the 8 years or so I've been doing these videos, I have not had that combination of a bow that felt that good to draw, that produced those kind of speeds. Primes for years have felt really nice for me to draw. They have not always been very close to their rated speed. This one absolutely nailed it. I don't know what the difference was this year. Maybe, I can't recall the rated speed of the form I shot last year, so maybe they were a little more optimistic on that speed than it really was, but I don't know. But it's an absolute home run of a bow for me this year. I have long been a fan of prime bows. I know they're a smaller bow company compared to a lot of the really big brands out there, but they make fantastic bows. Their fit and finish is second to absolutely nobody. And now they've somehow had a formula that gives you a buttery smooth draw cycle with great speed. And so with all that in mind, like I don't know why I would use the performance mods, at least if you have a longer draw length, because you're getting fantastic speeds, 330 feet with a 350 grain arrow, or 291 feet with a 455 grain arrow are fantastic speeds. I like being in that 290 range with my hunting arrow because I find that works best for fixed blades. Again, some people will obviously feel different, but again, if you've got a 27-inch draw length and you want a little bit of speed, you get a bow like this with the performance mods. The draw is a little bit stiffer, yes, but it does not, like I shot bows that have not touched 338 feet per second, and with an advertised speed of much higher than that felt way worse than this. Like kudos to Prime for nailing their advertised speed and for somehow doing it on a bow that doesn't feel like you're shooting a bow that fast. Again, I don't know how they've done it. There's always this motto I've held when it comes to testing bows, where it's like their speed comes at a cost. And in this bow, it just didn't seem to come at the cost. I don't know why. It doesn't make sense because I've shot this core cam on multiple Prime bows before and didn't get that kind of speed. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I'm using the exact same arrow with the exact same chronograph in the exact same location that I shoot all of my videos, and some bows feel way worse than this and produce lower speeds. And so I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. This is the best feeling Prime bow I've ever shot. And I've really liked a lot of Prime bows over the years. The Synergy 35 was probably my favorite Prime bow ever. I love that thing. And this bow, I have to give that the early nod over that. I mean, I need to shoot this in some competition, like some 3D, to really get a real good feel for it, but holy smokes, that combination of speed and silky smooth draw cycle is just stunning to me. Really happy. What I would love, and I should have maybe thought about that when I was talking to Prime about what bow I should shoot, is I think that 37-inch bow would just be a fantastic target bow. I don't know if I can get it in a slightly, like lower let-off range. Like this is, if you got 85% mods, I would like to shoot like a target bow with 70%, but if you could somehow get that 37 and like with like a 70 or 75-inch kind of let-off, I think that would be just a brilliant target bow, especially for 3D. So I don't know, I'll look into that in the future, but overall, Prime has hit, in my mind, an absolute home run. The only downside for me on this bow and the last couple of years worth of Prime is that they're draw length specific mods, which I don't love, especially if you're a person that that has a bow for a year or so and maybe wants to sell it and go buy yourself the new model. It makes it hard to move a bow when the mods are only fitting one person of one draw length, so you have to go track down mods for the new person. That's a minor quibble for me. There's everything else. I'm just absolutely loving how this bow feels. So kudos to Prime. I will be back in the coming weeks. I'm going to have more bows coming in for testing, and we'll ultimately do the big 2026 hunting bow shootout, and we'll test them all against each other. We'll test for speed, we'll test for draw cycle, and we'll just figure out which bow I like best. So until then, Archery Talk, thank you so much for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. Helps the channel an awful lot, and we'll see you soon.